Jamie Johnson pretty much is the person that really started my problem that I've been dealing with for the last 12 years, and really he is the first one where I can trace the main player that's really stirred up all this mess, and with the fact that he got his name on the title really was the point of no return for me, where basically I was committed to what I've been through. I had committed to what I had been put through for the last 12 years, and yeah, Mr. Johnson, basically we met through a mutual friend, Tony Brennan, and basically he employed me as a builder's labourer after my father passed away, and basically I thought he was a great bloke. He looked after me while I was working, as he worked as a building supervisor with a ticket. And the bottom line is, after a couple of years of working together, I put to him that basically let's start up a building company. And basically I'm a successful businessman. My parents recently just passed away, and I inherited nearly $2 million, plus the fact that I already owned my house in Kensington, and I worked as a chef, and then worked in the printing industry, then worked as a builder, and then basically started up the building company. Now the bottom line is that I financed the purchasing of the properties, etc., and set up the company and put a float in there, so basically we could get jobs off the ground and get up and running. And basically I financed the whole thing, set Mr. Johnson up beyond a shadow of a doubt. At the time when he robbed me in the building company, basically my mother was dying in hospital. My girlfriend had mental health problems, and so I was going from one hospital to the other. And my son's mother basically needed a break, and I had to take on my son as well. And this is when Mr. Johnson decided to rob me, and with the assistance of the West Australian Police Force. Now, once I called Mr. Johnson and I realised what he was up to, basically he fled the house that I was living 3 houses apart. He moved in the middle of the night, and then basically got a restraining order so he could continue robbing me, and I wasn't allowed to go to any of the jobs in the building company because of the restraining order. So the guy that robbed me also had control of the company, and I put all the assets in. Then Mr. Johnson basically one of the John's building suppliers rang us up and said that we owed X amount of dollars on a job. I said, well, we haven't got a job there, so I went out to the job to investigate why we had, I think it's $4,000 statement for a job that I didn't know we had. I went there, and there was mad cat backpackers in town in Northbridge, and basically Mr. Johnson had been doing a job on the side, and obviously this is where the money was being laundered or whatever into this job, and basically he contacted the police, and I was put on breach of restraining order, and breach, and locked up in jail, and that was I was locked up all weekend. My mother was dying in the hospital, and basically I got out of jail that weekend and rushed to my mother's side, and she passed away. And basically when they realised what happened and what had happened, the police dropped the charges, and as long as I didn't pursue them for compensation or etc., they would drop the charges. Absolutely disgusting. Mr. Johnson then basically we made the connection between him and George Loverock, and Mr. Johnson openly stated that he knew George Loverock, but he claimed that they had a big dispute over him, George Loverock, trying to screw his ex-wife. Now that turned out to be a lie, and basically connected him to the stealing of the building company money. And when I went to prosecute Jamie Johnson with the building company at Kensington Police Station, they did the most corrupt police investigation that you could ever imagine. And basically the police assisted Jamie Johnson to steal the $100,000 off me from the building company and get away with it. And the police are still assisting him and trying to get the property at 107 Burke Street, and trying to get that for nothing as well. Mr. Johnson hasn't contributed 1 cent towards the property, and basically he written an offer in 2005 November, offer that I could have the house back after I put to him my extortion claims and his association with George Loverock. He said that I could have my property back. I went to the lawyer's office to agree to the offer, and simply they reneged and changed their minds, and I was kicked out of the lawyer's office after they rang the police, after I was doing absolutely nothing again, and it's continued on. Mr. Johnson, I really, considering what I did for you and how I looked after your family, I bought your pets, your dogs, had big parties for New Year's Eve and gave you free tickets, with hundreds of dollars. Totally looked after you. Like you were down the pub there when you're meant to be working, and totally ripping us off. And you were involved in a police operation, and before my building company, you were involved in another police operation involved in a building company where your partner, again, like me, was sent down the river and was involved in the gin amphetamine factory, and basically you involved that police operation as well. Now, Mr. Johnson, sign the house over. There's going to be no glory for you at the end. At the end of the day, everybody knows what's going on now. The world can see. We're on the world stage, and the bottom line is that nobody expects to own a house when they don't contribute 1 cent towards it. And the bottom line is that you're not a man, so you can't take the house off me.